Have you ever wondered what really goes on in your first grader's English class? It can feel like a total mystery sometimes. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and crack the code on exactly what they're learning. And, maybe more importantly, how you can be their #1 fan on this amazing journey. So, let's dive in. First things first, we've got to understand that this age is so important. You'll hear experts call these early years the golden window for learning a language. And it's not just another school subject we're talking about here. This is the time when a kid's brain is literally wired to soak up the sounds, the patterns, all the little rules of language. It's what sets the stage for them to be a confident communicator for life. So, where does it all start? Well, you have to begin with the absolute basics. Before you can get to cool stories or even simple sentences, you've got to master the building blocks, right? We're talking about sounds, letters, and how they snap together to make words. And the very first step, of course, is the alphabet. This is a classic first grade worksheet, and you can see they're learning to recognize and write all 26 letters, both the big capital ones and the small lowercase ones. This isn't just about memorizing shapes. It's about building a mental catalog of the symbols that make up every single word they're ever going to read. Okay, so once they know the letters, the real magic starts, and that magic has a name. Phonics. Honestly, phonics is the key that unlocks the whole world of reading. It's just the idea that letters have sounds. So the letter C makes a k sound, A makes an ah sound. Once they get the hang of that, they can start to sound out words they've never even seen before. And here's what that looks like in the classroom. They're not just chanting sounds in the air. Nope, they're doing hands-on stuff like this. They look at a picture of a cup, they say cup out loud, and then they circle the letter that makes that k sound at the beginning. It's super concrete and really helps it stick. So, how can you help with this at home without it feeling like homework? The secret is to make it a game. Turn phonics into something fun. Sing silly songs that are full of sounds. Play I Spy, but instead of colors, spy things that start with a b sound. When you're out for a walk, point to a stop sign and go, hey, that S makes a s sound. You just weave it right into your normal day. All right, so kids are getting the letters and their sounds. The next little layer they add is realizing that not all letters are the same. They learned that the alphabet is basically split into two teams. You've got your vowels, that's A, E, I, O, and U, and then you've got the consonants, which is, well, everybody else. And knowing the difference is going to be super important for spelling and grammar later on. And yep, you guessed it, there are exercises for this too. A really common one is just giving them a big jumble of letters and having them find and circle all the vowels. It's a simple little sorting game that helps lock in this new idea and gets them ready for what's next. All right, let's move on to how they start building with these words using some simple grammar. Now that they've got the raw materials, the letters and their sounds, they can start learning the rules for how to put them together to make sense. One of the very first grammar rules they tackle is when to use a versus an. The rule is pretty simple, right? You use a before a word that starts with a consonant sound, like a dog, and you use an before a word that starts with a vowel sound, like an apple. It might seem like a small thing, but it's a huge step toward making their speaking and writing sound totally natural. And of course, practice makes perfect. They'll do exercises just like this one, where they have to fill in the blank. Is it an egg or a egg? A man or an man? Doing this over and over is what helps that rule really sink in. After that, they get to jump into the super exciting world of action words, or as we call them, verbs. These are the words that bring sentences to life. They start with the most basic ones that describe what's happening, like is, am, and are. So, they start in the now, the present tense, with words like am, is, and are. I am happy, or the cookies are delicious. Then, they take a little trip back in time and learn the past tense with was and were. So, yesterday, I was at the park. This is huge because it introduces the idea of time, which is a massive leap in how they can communicate. So, after all these worksheets and drills, the letters, the sounds, the grammar rules, what's it all for? What's the big payoff? Well, this is the part where all that practice turns into the pure joy of actually reading a story. This is it. This is the moment where it all clicks into place. All those rules aren't just boring drills anymore. They're the keys that unlock the magic of reading. This is that aha moment when a kid looks at a page and realizes, whoa, I can read this. I mean, just look at this little passage about owls. Listen to this. Great horned owls hoot to other owls in the forest. To understand that one sentence, a child has to use phonics to decode a dozen words and know what they mean. All those separate little skills have finally come together to open up this whole new world of information and stories. It's so cool. So, now that we've seen what they're learning and why it's so important, let's get to the best part, your role in all of this. How can you, as a parent, build on everything they're doing in school and help raise a truly confident communicator? Well, you can create what people call a language-rich home. It's easier than it sounds. First, label everything. Stick a note on the chair, the table, the fridge. It makes vocabulary a constant visual part of their world. Second, read together. Every day. Make it your special, cozy time. Third, just start using English in your daily routines. When you're making dinner, just say, "I am stirring the soup." And finally, watch their favorite shows in English, and then talk about them. Ask, "Why do you think he did that?" And there are other fun ways too. Play games like charades to act out those action words. Turn a trip to the grocery store into a scavenger hunt for words. Oh, and here's a great one. Let your child be the teacher. Ask them to teach you a new English word. It does wonders for their confidence. And maybe the most important tip of all, don't overcorrect them. If they make a mistake, just let it slide. The goal here is communication, not perfection. You always want to celebrate the effort. Okay, as we start to wrap up, I want to just take a step back from all the rules and the worksheets for a second and look at the big picture. What is all this really about? The whole journey makes so much sense when you lay it out. It starts with the tiniest piece, a single letter. That letter gets a sound. Those sounds come together to make words. The words follow rules to become sentences. And those sentences, they weave together to tell incredible stories. But here's the last thought I really want to leave you with. What if the real goal here isn't just about them getting all the rules right or becoming fluent? What if our true job, as the adults in their lives, is to use this amazing golden window to spark something much deeper? A real lifelong love for connecting with people, for expressing themselves, and for the simple power of communication. Maybe that's the code we're all really trying to crack.